We've gone back and forth with Jake LaRavia probably playing himself out of the smaller contract that the Kings can offer him based on them taking over the Grizzlies situation. But there's always a chance. Jake did say he loved how things worked out. He loved being in Sacramento, and he was injured, right? So he didn't get a chance to ball out on the big stage, the play-in stage, or towards the end of the season. So you never know. What we do know is that when you lose Jake LaRavia, you tend to have some regrets. And as the Grizzlies, who are talking big talk, by the way, now that the series is over, that they got swept in, mind you, Scottie Pippen Jr. saying that they had a chance if Ja didn't get hurt, Ja saying he had the Thunder, quote unquote, figured out. It's easy to say when you're on your way to Cancun, but Grizzlies GM Zach Kleiman thinks that Jake LaRavia could have helped them in that series and towards the end of the year, as he has some regrets on letting go of the legend. Here it is.
If you could take a do-over on any one decision you've made since a year ago today in this situation, what would it be?
I've already raised my hand vis-a-vis the original, smart trade, and that was before that time. I think sometimes you feel the effects of decisions made earlier, as they play out over time. I think we should have picked up Jake LaRavia's team option. I think the mistake was there. Going forward, because of the difficulties with that situation, we're probably better off with the second round pick, going forward from what we can do going forward. So it's not like a regret vis-a-vis. I think Jake could have helped us, down the stretch. So I think, vis-a-vis this season, yes, like would have been great, if we had him, with us down the stretch. But the original decision is what put us, in that position. I thought that was a close call at the time. We went back and forth on it. Probably should have picked up Jake LaRavia's team option if I have to pick. That's probably not what people are focused on. But I think Jake's made, significant steps forward. He played well.
Well, if they did pick it up vis-a-vis a second rounder, then maybe Jake would still be there. I was telling Kyle during the break that I had an old boss who he loved to say vis-a-vis. Just once a meeting, he's saying vis-a-vis. But in all seriousness, Zach Kleiman literally is admitting, hey, a lot of people probably aren't talking about this, but I see something in Jake LaRavia that we really did miss towards the end of the season. And now the Kings are in a tough situation where he probably will get priced out, but there is still an optimistic view where Jake LaRavia takes maybe a small pay cut and stays in Sacramento. Kyle, you have those numbers on Jake LaRavia and what the Kings can offer him.
Yes. So this is estimated numbers because, again, I don't know exactly how the NBA salary cap is going to work. So the most they can offer him, we know for sure, is $5.1 million this summer.
Right.
And Bobby Marks had the numbers yesterday. There's like a biannual option for $5.1 million that if LaRavia resigns, they can just slide him in, doesn't count against the salary cap. So if they brought back LaRavia for $5.1 million, they could do it with that biannual option. If they offered him multiple years, the standard rule is 8% increases per year. So it would be, they can offer him, if that's true, 1 year, $5.1 million, 2 years at $10.6 million, 3 years at $16.5 million, and 4 years at $23 million. Obviously, you can put options and stuff in.
Yeah, it really just depends on Jake's market. And if you look at the other teams that would be interested in Jake, they can go in at essentially whatever they want and just say, hey, this is what we think you're worth, Jake. I mean, looking at it like that, I felt better before you read that off, Kyle. I'm going to be honest with you.
Did it feel better knowing that if he does choose to re-sign for $5.1 million in the first year, that it does not count against the salary cap?
Sure. For the Kings, again, it's more about Jake. Is there a world where the Kings just sign him for that $5 million and then he essentially kind of a last chance you thing where if he feels like, hey, the Kings can only offer me this, but I'm not actually getting that much money as far as the other offers. Let me take this from the Kings. Let me ball out in Sacramento, and then I get cashed out. Is there a world where that happens?
Vis-a-vis.
I would say if he has a multi-year contract offer on the table for more money,
He's going to take it now.
he's going to take that. If it's a multi-year contract for less average annual value, I don't see why the Sacramento Kings would be hesitant to make a multi-year commitment to Jake LaRavia when we're talking about A, such small dollar amounts, but B, small dollar amounts that in the short term won't count against the salary cap.
Give me the because I think the 2-year was too short, and I think the 4-year was maybe a little too long. Give me the 3-year offer
So
again.
3-year would be about 16.6 million. So if you're breaking it down, it'd be about 5.1 the first year, 5.5 the second year, and then 6 million the third year.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just can't see a team. I just can't see a team not coming in with 25
Vis-a-vis.
or more.
Vis-a-vis.
I don't see how the Kings keep Jake LaRavia.
Vis-a-vis.
And I don't even think his value is that crazy. I don't think someone's going to cash him out for 30 mil. He's not going to get 3 years, 30 mil, but he could get 3 years, 20. He could get 2 years, 20 mil.
Yeah, I think the interesting situation is how many years would you be willing to go? Because Memphis wouldn't even commit 1 year to him.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, we just heard Zach Kleiman, the person who made that decision, say
Vis-a-vis.
that he regretted not taking the 1 year team option.
Yeah.
So granted, no one was willing to give him a 1 year contract 12 months, or not even 12. What is that? 8 months ago, they weren't willing to give him a 1 year extension.
Yeah.
So maybe he's played himself into a multi-year extension. Maybe Sacramento's the team who's willing to do that because Sacramento was the team that wanted him at the deadline. So maybe Sacramento is the team that values him most, but to your point, they're going to have to take that risk in free agency.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I mean, let's keep it 1,000. We know what Jake does. A lot of it isn't in the scorebook. We get that, right? It's not in the box score. But looking at the reality of it, 66 games this season. So he missed a decent amount of games, okay?
Most of it at the end of the season.
Yeah. Most of it, of course, with the Kings. 66 games. He averaged 6.9 points per game. He averaged 3.9 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 47.5% from the field, 42.3% from three, 67% from free throw. He's only 23 years old. So the reality is that you're signing him. If somebody is going to beat out the Kings, you're really beating him out based on what you think Jake LaRavia will be, not based on what he's done so far. So I felt bad after you read off those numbers. Now reading the stats, I feel better. And then I see his age. I feel worse. I do think that there is a chance. There is a chance here.
Maybe it ends up being 1 year and a player option, right? Because if I understand this correctly, there's no rules on player options or team options that you can offer. If he signs the contract, he signs the contract. But I think the most they could offer him are those dollar values, which I don't know. I mean, 2 years and 11 million. That's like 3 times as much as he's made on his rookie scale contract. So who knows? I think the Kings should offer him as much as they can, kind of like they did with Malik Monk, and then just let the market play itself out. If who's a team with cap space? If Indiana comes in and says, we want to offer him 10 million a year, I think you just kind of say, well, we tried. We are literally limited by the rules that we can't offer him more than 5.1 million. So
you would offer him the 4 years?
No, I would offer either the 2 or the 3 with a player option.
Yeah.
But that, again, this is the conversation we've been having all day with Doug Christie. Are they committing to anybody beyond 2026?
Give me the 2 years again.
It would be 10.6.
Ah, Lord.
So it would be 5.1.
If I'm his agent, I'm not getting out of bed for that.
5.1 the first year, 5.5 the next year.
What is Jake LaRavia's value right now? That is the question. Give me the 3-year one more time.
16.6. So it's $6 million the third year. Again, you're saying 5.6. I'm not getting out of bed, but a $6 million third year. Now we're talking.
Yeah, it's real. It's just who is going to. The question becomes, if you're Jake LaRavia and the Kings are offering you 10-2, and somebody else comes in, because if everybody knows, here's the thing though, his value is not up, right? So if everybody knows the Kings can only offer 10, then they're not really outbidding with anybody. And if you're, I don't know, just pick a random team, the Pistons, they can say, well, we'll do 2 for 15. Your Jake LaRavia, is 5 enough, and I say this is 5 enough. It's enough for me to be out to Detroit, but is 5 enough for Jake to go to Detroit if he truly did like Sacramento? All we can hope for now is that because Sacramento can only offer a certain amount, nobody attempts to, again, if you're only bidding with yourself, nobody attempts to blow Jake out of the water, and Jake says, I'll take a $3 million, $5 million pay cut to stay in Sacramento. That's the only thing I could think, or that his value is just completely shot right now.
Well, I think he only needs one other team to make him an offer to make that happen, right? It's who's the other team that values him more? Because again, at the deadline, which was 2 months ago, weird that that's only 2 months ago, but 2 months ago, the Kings were the team that saw his value as the highest. They gave up essentially 2 first-round picks for Jake LaRavia. When you talk about the second and Colby Jones, who was a former second-round pick, they essentially traded in 2 seconds for Jake LaRavia. So 2 months ago, they were the team that valued him more than anyone in the league.
And look, Zach LaVine appreciated that. Maybe Jake will appreciate it too. And to that point, Kyle, maybe, and look, I'm not going to say names, but there was a very notable King that came back this past season, and the idea was that there was a lot of money out there for him, and the reality was that there wasn't as much money out there for him as we all thought. Maybe the same thing could happen with Jake LaRavia. Our Kings trade target coming up next. Some of you may not like it, but I love it. Alan Sile, Sactown Sports.
Vis-a-vis
The Sactown Sports 1140 newsletter.